guys, today I'm going to make a video on the difference between the brushed and the brushless DC motor. So let's start with the construction. So the brushed motor looks almost similar to this I have shown. So the brushless mode. So the brushed DC motor consists of two permanent magnet stators. Stator means the part which remains still inside a motor, that is a stator. So we have a magnet, a two pole magnet, which is a stator, and the rotor in this case is the coil. So it usually uses an armature. The coils are wound around it. So this is a commutator. So commutator is basically used to alternate the flow of current in DC. They also use commutators in AC motors also. It's also almost similar to an AC motor, but only thing is I'm explaining this for DC. So the working is quite simple. So as soon as we pass current through the coil, what happens is the coil gets excited, so it creates a magnetic field and it starts rotating. Firstly, when the current flows, suppose the current flows in this direction, say from right to left, suppose it creates a north field, so it repels and it comes up again. Here, suppose let us assume that the current flows from left to right, the magnet again comes down, so this process continues. So this is the working of a brushed motor. So the working of a brushed motor is very simple. Coming to the advantages. So advantages of brushed motor: it is low construction cost. The construction cost is quite low because of the very less complex components. Simply we use a magnet, coil, commutator, brushes. That's why the name brushed motor. So we use a brush. That's it. It's very simple. It requires a very simple controller. As you can see in a regular fan, all we need is a regulator. That's it. So it's very simple to control the fan, and there is no need for controlling in a fixed speed. Suppose you want to connect a fan, but you don't want to put a regulator, even that is possible. We can directly run the fan without using any controller. And the major advantage is it's very inexpensive due to the very low construction cost and also the low component costs. So coming to the disadvantages, it has excess wear and tear, means the brushes eventually get worn out after some time. It produces more heat since the DC motor have very high inertial torque. It draws a lot of current and actually produces more heat, consumes excess power due to the same reason, and they're noisy because the brush sometimes produces arcs and those can be noisy, and also due to the wear and tear and also the friction between the armature and the brushes creates friction. Now coming to brushless motor. The brushless motor construction looks like this. So this brushless motor consists of three coils. So basically this is a field magnet. So basically all the coil outputs go to the electronic stator control. So electronic stator control is a device that works on pulse width modulation. Pulse width modulation, I will just say a brief of what is pulse width modulation. Pulse width modulation is a technique of reducing the average electrical power given to any electrical device or circuit by chopping the signals into discrete parts. That means if there is a continuous DC signal, we use sampling techniques to chop the signals into discrete parts. So this is how a PWM looks like. So T on is turn on time, the time at which the signal is high and the device is turned on, and T off is a duration for which the device is turned off. So the duty cycle is T on divided by T on plus T off. So basically the duty cycle of the pulse determines the speed of the brushless DC motor. Coming back to the brushless DC motor, so ESC basically accepts the pulse width modulated signals, and it also accepts the 12 volt and as well as the ground. So the PWM signals can be easily generated using monostable multivibrator or a stable vibrator or anything like you can use a microprocessor for that purpose. So its work is very simple. The ESC converts the single phase into a three-phase signal. As you can see, there are three coils here. So it basically produces an alternating magnetic field, a very powerful alternating magnetic field. Here the stator is these coils and the rotor is field magnet. So brushless DC motor, let's come to the advantages. It has very less maintenance since it doesn't use any brushes and everything is self-sustained in it. It has very less maintenance, so the efficiency is very high, and also it has very high output to size ratio. For a size of the fan almost the same, the revolutions per minute is very high, and also the size is reduced, and also it achieves very high speed at very lesser noises. So coming to the disadvantage, it's very expensive due to the use of a very complex construction and also complex circuitry for controlling. It's very expensive when compared to a brushed motor, almost 2 to 3 times more if I say specifically. So it has a need for a complex controller, meaning it needs a complex controller irrespective of the speed to control the fan or anything. It has a very complex wiring, and this cannot be repaired by a normal electrician. It has a bit of vibrations at very low speeds. If you can observe in a normal brushless motor used in a drone or something, we can observe vibrations at very slow speed. Otherwise there is no vibrations at high speed whatsoever. So this is a video of the difference between the brushed motor and the brushless DC motor. Thank you.